So in this video, I'm going to go through the sounds and just explain what they are and some of the tips and tricks that I've used to get these. So they're all analog flavored, a variety of samples used, but all the internal ones. No additional samples are needed for this set. So this one's called Analog Electric Piano because I'm employing the square wave type analog sound and some LFOs to achieve that. A lot of synth manufacturers with analog circuits try to create electric pianos. That one, using the square wave to get that kind of Wurlitzer electric piano sound, was what they use. So it doesn't sound like a Wurlitzer, but it has its own thing, and I really like that kind of sound. So this one is called Analog Dance. And you can use the vector to mute the sections. So there's the two analog parts, so you can take the drums out completely. And do a bit of wave sequencing to control that. So here's another complex one. 4 layers on this with the different sequences, and we've got poly aftertouch as well. Control the sequence. So now to one of the classic sounds. That's the classic phase Selena type sound. And there's 2 layers on this one, and you can switch between them using the vector control. One is phased and one isn't. So there's just the one without the phase on it, and you can adjust the phase on it. And then you can bring them together. Now these next set are a set of ARP Pro Soloist. So that was a preset synth from ARP, and it had oboe and flutes and clarinets type sound, which didn't sound anything like them, but a lot of great sounds could we get from those. And people like Tony Banks, Genesis used it, especially in the 70s. So, for example, this one all supported poly aftertouch as well. If you haven't got poly aftertouch, the same control is on the mod wheel as well. This one is quite an interesting one because I did use some wave sequence in there to switch between the pulse to a square. So the idea on this one, on the Pro Soloist, is it sounded like a guitar with almost like feedback coming through it. So that's how I recreated that. So you've got the pulse switch going to the square wave. Doesn't sound really like a guitar with feedback, but it does sound pretty good. So this one is a portamento lead from the Pro Soloist. Almost Pink Floydish, but again, a nice lead sound. Then we've got the Pro Soloist clarinet, which is just a nice straightforward square lead. And we've got the oboe. Nice sort of classic pulse width lead there. And one on the Pro Soloist is called Telstar. Definitely used by Tony Banks Genesis. With the aftertouch or the mod, you can add that sort of wobble to it. And the final Pro Soloist one, a trumpet. So I've saved these as programs as well, so you can incorporate these into your own performances. Something a bit different, we've got a bandpass string because of multiple filters. So you can select through them on there, or through the software, and I'm using a bandpass to give you sort of a narrow range strings. So very thin sounding strings sometimes fit really well into a mix. This one, I probably had not as much success as I did recreate the Blade Runner end on Mobwave, which probably turned out better, but I did have a go, so I thought I'd include that one. You get the idea. It's not perfect, but there is a nice lead sound which combines a number of layers, just 2 layers actually, to get that nice lead sound. And then the lower part is just a sequencer. CS80, big massive polysynth, so I thought, well, what can I create to sort of represent that? So we've got this big brass. I used something similar for Genesis sets. Really nice big brass sound. Another CS80 sound is the dual strings. The CS80 is 2 synth sections effectively, so you can have 2 layers, and so I've combined that to some nice big string sounds. And I used a bandpass filter to do that. So we've got the bandpass filter on one layer, and on the other layer we're using the 4-pole. So both using using the different filters, so to get that nice. And again, I've saved these, so the bandpass version and the low pass version are available as programs. So here we've got like almost like a Tangerine Dream type Berlin School sequence, not quite, but you get the idea. And that's just using the analog samples, sawtooths, and the pulse to get that. And using the arpeggiator as well. So this one I've called French Connection, which is a nice little sequence. We've got the drum kit, which is coming from the sort of classic CR78 type sounds, and then we've got a sequence alternating between different sounds, and then we've got the high patch layer coming in. So this one is called I Hear, which I wanted to get a sort of a kind of Vangelis type lead. I couldn't help myself, so I did put a split point with a little sequence and a drum pattern. I know it's not exactly right, but I did like that. So this one's called In the Air. and mainly because I just wanted to create that nice pad sound. But I did put the poly aftertouch on the guitar as well, and it's all vector controlled. So if you don't want the guitar in there, you can just have the pad. And just played about with the drum pattern on there. This one is Jan's lead, or Jan's square lead. I was thinking of Jan Hammer, sort of those fusion leads that he used to play on the Mini Moog. So I've used a Moog sample, one of the built-in ones. There's poly aftertouch and mod wheel control. A bit legato on there. Couple of JP ones now, Jupiters, and this one is kind of a detuned pad. And then I've got another one, but this was using sort of a sine wave type one. The reason why I've kind of gone for the Jupiter type field is because I used the filter model. I tried to model the Jupiter type filter. Then we've got some JX3P strings. I used to have a JX3. Sadly, I sold it a long time ago. I wish I kept it. That does give you some nice strings. It's a really nice little pad sound. So then I thought about what other synths could I do, and the Maxicord, why not? There's a couple of Maxicord samples in, so we've got a lead sound. So the initial part has got that sort of little bit of resonance on it, and filter opened, and then it closes off. And it's in legato mode, so you only get it when you hit the key. If you play the next keys, it doesn't do that. So you've got control over that. So that got me thinking, oh, well, maybe I can make a little track with the Maxicord samples. So I've got a few layers in there. We've got the bass, and sitting there, arpeggiator layer and a pad, and a simple drum pattern as well. Again, saved in layers so that you can load any of those in. Then I thought about the monopoly. That's the Korg monopoly. So that one has it was 4-note polyphony. It had 4 oscillators, which each had its own section. So you could have different waveform, a different octave, a different tune. And then it went through the same set as filters. So you could have a square wave when you press the first note, the next note could be a triangle wave, and the next one could be an octave higher triangle wave. So you can play about with that. So I created this one. And the way you can achieve that on the Wavestate is you pick that layer, and then you can see I've got a saw, a Prophet 5. So there you can see the samples I'm using. So I'm using a sawtooth, a square wave, another slightly different sawtooth, and then a triangle. And then going through the arpeggiator as well to get that so it goes on to each note. And then a similar effect with a bit of a kit on it as well. with the filter coming in like that. Then a monopoly pulse wave. Now here you can see what I was talking about earlier about it switching to the notes. We've got 4 pulse width variations, and I'm using Note on Advance. Let me show you. So I'm using Note on Advance to slip through them. So that's how you can achieve that effect. Next one is this MS-20 sort of lead. So the MS-20 filters are built into the Wavestate. So I've selected those, and I've got a... So the pitch control controls the number of voices and the detune, so controlling both of those. So as you turn them up, I'm talking of unison, MS-2000, year 2000 Korg virtual analog synth had a nice unison sample there. I've actually got one of those behind me over there. MX strings are, so we've got some strings I call MX strings. Now a couple of Oberheim. This is an Oberheim lead. So the filter opens as part of the envelope, and there is some aftertouch or mod control to control the LFO on the filter. So Oberheim staff. So this one is called Pocket Calculator. Which kind of reminded me of Craftwerk, so I got the name, and I thought, well, maybe I could put that with something. So we've got bit of fun, but I quite like that. So then, I mentioned earlier that synths were kind of in the 70s, especially in the, up until the DX7 era, really, were trying to recreate real acoustic instruments and not doing that well, but they came out with some great sounds. And one of those is harpsichord. So this is modelled after the Polysix harpsichord. But it's actually just a nice pulse width sound. Then one of my favourite from the Polysix is a nice sort of warm pad sound. With a nice slow envelope, so you can speed that up if you want it a bit quicker. And of course you can brighten it up with the filter control. So this one called Power Lead. It's got a real sort of gritty feel to it. So this one called Prog Sound. The idea behind that one, kind of a bit proggish because I'm using the Mellotron strings. And also there's a bass note on there. So there's a split point with the bass. I was thinking in sort of those Moog Taurus bass pedals that a lot of prog groups use, so that's where that comes from. A bit of drum kit with filtering on. And kind of nice lead sound to go with that. Again, saved in layers so you can pick those out. Bit of a Prophet 5 pad. As used by Phil Collins on in the Air Tonight and loads of other stuff, but I just like that pad sound. And you can brighten it up just by adjusting the filter. We've got a classic pulse lead. With some portamento on there as well. This one I'm using the wave sequencing to give a sort of evolving sound on that pulse, because it's stepping through the different pulse waves samples on there. Classic PWM strings. And there's a patch on the Korg radius called Jump. Could be meant to be the Van Halen type sound, but I really liked it, so this is a copy of it. So next one is an RMI piano. As I said earlier on, the real acoustic sounds were trying to be recreated on synths. RMI created electronic piano, not electric piano. Which didn't sound like pianos, but they did have their own distinct characteristics. Then we've got another unison lead. And then I tried to create some Vangelis type strings. And there's some poly aftertouch in there as well. A couple of polymoog type sounds, mainly the Vox Humana sounds. Gary Newman type sound. So that's the one without any phasing on it. There's a phased version. And there's a split where you can have the non-phased in the left hand, and in the right hand you've got the phased. So I wanted to create a nice warm mono lead. So this is using a sawtooth type sound with legato on again. So it's got legato. And I wanted a nice brass poly to go with that as well, which is the same sample.